Welcome to Let's Chat. I am Ray Lloyd. I am honored to be with you tonight, and I am just going to share my screen, and we will get started. So, tonight we are going to talk about self-sabotage. And I know you're all like, I don't do that, but I think you're going to be surprised that you actually do. So, let's talk about an honest look at self-sabotage. So first, let's define what self-sabotage looks like. So the definition of self-sabotage is the act of destroying or damaging something deliberately so that it does not work correctly, an act or process tended to hurt. The act of self-sabotage is a way that we act passive-aggressively towards ourselves. And you're probably like, why would I do that? So I'm going to share a little bit with you of the thought process, or maybe not even the thought process, of why this might occur. So often, self-sabotage is an underlying feeling. It's something that you're not even maybe aware of, but it's an underlying feeling of inadequacy and the feeling of being scared to fail. So when you self-sabotage, you are having a behavior that creates problems, and that will interfere with the long-standing goals, like losing however much weight, or staying in fat burn, or drinking 100 ounces of water. So you're creating the problem, and they might be like, oh, it's a real problem, but you created that problem. So that will create a form of procrastination, like comfort eating and other self-destructive behaviors. Like forgetting your water bottle at home. You might be like, oh, I forgot. No, you probably subconsciously did that on purpose. So let's talk about that further. Self-sabotage is something that we do in life that prevents us from achieving our goals. Why? Because it protects our ego if we fail. So because we fear failure, everybody fears failure, it helps us save face, like, oh, everybody, it's fine. It wasn't really going to happen anyway. So it makes everybody think like, oh, it's fine. And it gives us an excuse if we fail, well, I have such and such disease, or I can't drink that much water, or someone in my family passed away. And these are real things, right? I'm not saying you're making up completely fake things, but you turn it into a problem that interferes with your long-term goal, because many times we feel like we are unworthy of success. Let that sink in. We feel like we're unworthy. And habits play a very large part in this. So what we used to do and what our life used to look like and what our behavior used to be. So I'm going to get into the nitty-gritties of that. I'm going to really get into like the gut of what self-sabotage looks like. But what I first want to do is, honestly, I'm going to use Ryan. I'm going to stop sharing so I can mute all of you. The mute button is like right on the bottom of your screen. If you could keep that muted, that would be super helpful. But I am going to ask Ryan to come off mute. This dude just lost over 100 pounds, and his story is incredible. Ryan, are you there? Maybe he's not here yet. I did tell him 9:10, so I talk a little fast.
Yes, can you hear me?
You are here. Yay. Okay, cool.
Yes, I just couldn't unmute myself. Hi.
Perfect.
Oh, it's now our time here. So, hi. So yeah, my name's Ryan, and I'm 25. I'm from upstate New York, and I'm a music teacher in New York City. And I started the program at the end of January. I've been overweight my whole life, and obese most of that time. And so literally I have no recollection or understanding even of what it is like to not be overweight. So I tried a lot of different things over the years. And earlier this year, I was working with a good friend of mine and colleague. His name's Oleg, and his wife, who is now my coach, Diana, had done the program and has become a coach and all that. And so I had talked to him about all these different things. I was doing different diet programs like Weight Watchers. I was considering other meal plans, things like that. I was doing intense boxing classes and all this kind of stuff, but it wasn't really working for me, or at least I found it very hard to stick with. So I got connected with my friend's wife, Diana, and we went from there. And I was like, you know what? I tried so many things. I was kind of skeptical. But I said, let's give it a shot. It's clearly working for somebody. And I started, it's January 23rd. I always remember that day. I started, and since then, It's been an interesting journey. So 5 months, and yeah, I've now lost 103 pounds, and I need to lose maybe another 40, 50 more. Um, but it's not really about the number or anything like that, of course. But what's really been changing, I mean, of course, and maybe I think Ray already showed the photos, before and after photos from 5 months ago, and I can barely believe it. Still, I have to look at photos myself because I don't even always notice it without people telling me or anything like that. And dropping clothing sizes like crazy. Went from wearing a 3X shirt to just a regular extra large in that time, and I have to get new jeans every 3 weeks. But it's a good problem to have, and people notice all the time, of course. And my colleagues are like, "You look like a different person." People I hadn't seen in a while literally didn't recognize me. My parents showed a photo of me to somebody who I grew up with, or adults I grew up with, and they literally did not know who I was in the photo, which is crazy to think about. So I'm very excited about the progress. I'm very blessed that it's been working really well, and now I've become a coach myself too, and I have some clients I'm helping get on the same track who have been inspired by that, which is crazy for me to think about. It's very humbling because from literally, like I said, my whole life have been struggling with this, and for me to be able to get to the point where now I'm, really far along with the journey and being able to help other folks is really, really something exciting. Like a moment I was thinking, I went, clothing shopping, which is always kind of a nightmare for me and very expensive and very difficult and never really could get what I want to wear, all that kind of thing. I had a mental switch recently. I was in the store and I saw a shirt or something like that I liked. And before it was like, oh, I could never wear that. But now my mindset has changed to, oh, just not yet. And I'll be able to, wear something like that if I want to in the near future, because the progress has been so consistent and really well. So, and yeah, I feel better than ever. I have so much more energy and so much more confidence and just enthusiasm. And even my friend, my coach's husband, Oleg, is a good friend of mine. He mentioned, he goes, look at these before and after pictures. Like, not only you look healthier, but you can see in your face you're so much happier and so much more relaxed and all that sort of thing. So yeah, it's been an amazing journey so far, and I'm looking forward to continuing and continuing to help other people get on board. That's really where I'm at and where I've been so far. So
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. I mean, if you notice in the chat, everyone's really proud of you. And I remember you mentioned to us that your students had said, hey, I want to be healthy like you. And I think that's so powerful that you're able to affect people, that they don't have to get to the point where we were at to then have to do something about it. But hopefully you'll have a long-term effect on them in terms of staying healthy to begin with. So thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
Continue sharing my screen, and we will continue talking about self-sabotage. So if you guys could just take that in for a second, that happened in 5 months. So that's amazing. Okay, let's move on. So what does self-sabotage look like? Okay, where is it showing up? So self-sabotage is things like bargaining with yourself to justify bad choices and excuses. For example, it's my birthday. I did so good for the last 3 weeks. I deserve to have this candy. Someone in my family is really having a hard time and it's really affecting me. And you know what I mean? Like this, like dialogue that you're having with yourself, this narrative that's in your head where you justify it because now you're not going to feel bad about it. And then you're going to go ahead and you can't have any guilt because you said it's okay, right? It also looks like buying trigger foods to have in the house because, your guests want it. Like I had someone tell me, I have to have soda in the house. I was like, you're a Diet Coke addict. You should not be having soda in the house. Yeah, but what am I going to tell people, when they come over? You're going to tell them that you no longer drink soda, that you're on a healthy journey, because that's self-sabotage. You're telling yourself it's for your guests. You're telling yourself it's for the party, but really, you shouldn't have that around and you're buying it anyways. That's self-sabotage. Telling yourself you deserve it because it's the weekend. telling yourself you deserve it because you've been so good, telling yourself that you deserve it because you've already lost 20 pounds and you've never lost 20 pounds. So what is a little bit of cake going to do? Well, it's going to knock you out of fat burn. That's what it's going to do. That's self-sabotage. Self-sabotage will also show up not telling your friends and family that you're on a healthy journey. So they keep asking you to go to the movies and they buy you an extra large popcorn because that used to be your thing. Or they invite you over to parties and they offer you a drink and you feel so bad saying no. That's self-sabotage. You're not telling them on purpose. You're not telling them because you're hoping that someone's going to offer you cake and then you can't say no because you don't want to hurt their feelings because you're at their party. That's self-sabotage. Self-sabotage will also show up as going to your favorite restaurant where you always had that double-decker cream chocolate cake. Why are you going there? Go to the Olive Garden where you can get a salad. You know, like, why are you going to your favorite restaurant that served your favorite dessert? That's self-sabotage. Self-sabotage shows up in subtle, very destructive ways. So I want you guys to read this quote out loud. Maybe take a screenshot of it. Okay, I am my problem. I am also my solution. So we may have self-sabotaging kinds of behaviors, but that doesn't mean that that is our destiny. That doesn't mean like, well, I guess I'm screwed. No, you are also your solution. You can also create the solution to this problem. And so as much as you have those self-sabotaging kind of thoughts, I deserve it, you can turn that around. The question is though, why do we self-sabotage? Do we really not want to be successful? So we self-sabotage because it's less scary to remain in familiar territory than it is to leap into the unknown. And I'm going to be 1,000% honest. I found out about Optavia, which was called Take Shape for Life back then, 2 years before I started Plan. And I self-sabotaged myself by telling everybody that I didn't eat certain things and that I couldn't do it. And it was, I couldn't eat packaged food. That was self-sabotage. For 2 years, I remained miserable and 60 pounds overweight because I had self-sabotaged myself into not even starting because I was so scared to know what it would be like to lose 60 pounds. I was so scared to know that when I got on the phone with my coach, and mind you, I gave her a hard time to even get on the phone. When I finally got on the phone and she asked me how much weight I wanted to lose, I said 10 pounds because I couldn't even imagine losing 60. And for some of you, that number's 15. And for some of you, that number's 150. Everyone's number is equal in importance. But it's scary. So we self-sabotage because some of us don't ever know what it's like. Some of us have been overweight since we were 10. We don't even know what it feels like to shop in the regular part of the store. What will I be like? Will I lose my personality? I've had people say that to clients. You're different. You're not as fun anymore. That's not okay. You need to tell those people that they can't say stuff like that to you because it's going to cause you to self-sabotage. You are your best self when you are your healthiest self. So don't be scared to get into that unknown territory because it's going to be a beautiful place. Another reason why you might self-sabotage is because when you set a goal or like the want to change, you'll get anxiety because like, what if it doesn't work out? And what if it doesn't work? And what if I spend all this money and the box comes and I don't like it? And what if I can't get into fat burn? And what if no one supports me? And all these what ifs. So because you're having anxiety, you're going back to your usual soothing mechanism, which is probably eating. Some of you might not have that. Lots of us do. So, sorry, let's go. Oh crap. Hold on one second. I'm sorry. I'm not so good at the backing up thing. I'm going to have to ask Michelle how to do that. Pretty tech savvy, but I wanted to read this out loud to you guys. Okay, there we go. All right. So, when you have that anxiety, you are going back to that old behavior and you're subtly destroying that goal so that you can get rid of the anxiety, which allows you to stay comfortable, which brings you back to being in familiar territory, which brings you back to the self-sabotage all over again. It is important to remain committed to your goal and your journey of healing, even if the urge to self-sabotage is intense. And that's where, Stop, Challenge, Choose comes in and walking out of the house. And I literally took something. It was actually a container of nuts. It wasn't even cake. It was a container of nuts. I'd already had my healthy fat for the day. I really wanted to eat them. I don't even know if it was an emotional thing. I can't remember the day, but I wanted to eat them. So I put them in the garbage. I was like, you know what? You're going to put these in the garbage and you're not going to eat them. And then I was like, I will eat them out of the garbage. Like they were covered. I could take it back out. I took soap and I poured it all over the nuts and I put it back in the garbage because I was like, I can't trust myself right now, so I have to do something so drastic to stop the urge to self-sabotage. So I want you to read this. Suffer the pain of discipline or suffer the pain of regret. Because I promise you, no one has ever eaten that cake or drank the soda or had the shot and was like, yeah, that was worth it. Unless you don't really care about this journey. Unless you aren't really that committed to getting healthy. People that are really that committed, they're going to feel bad. The self-sabotage doesn't make them feel, it makes them uncomfortable. No one wants to be that person. So if you don't really feel committed, then all right, you might take a shot and you might tell yourself it's okay, but that even might be more self-sabotage. So it's so much in depth, it's so much ingrained in you. So that's a whole other story, and none of us are therapists. I mean, some of us might be therapists. I'm certainly not. But this is the psychology behind it. So the next slide. How can we stop self-sabotage? Okay, so awareness is number one. Become aware of when it happens. Write it down. Keep a notebook with you. Put it in your phone. Write down your triggers as you notice them. Is it your boss? If it's your boss, you might want to become a health coach because none of us have that issue. But if it's your boss, then write down, what did he say? What did she do? Was it a meeting? Was it going to the bank? Was it having to pay bills? Was it dealing with your kids? What's your trigger? Figure out your trigger. Notice the patterns of when this behavior occurs and then reframe the experience each time moving forward so that it becomes less and less of a trigger. Okay, so my boss pissed me off and it made me, well, it didn't make me. I went and self-sabotaged. I ate 11 cupcakes. Okay, there were mini cupcakes, so I allowed myself to do it because how many calories could even be in a mini cupcake? And cupcakes are really just muffins with icing, right? So they're technically healthy. I mean, there's this narrative that goes on in our heads where we allow ourselves to ruin what we've been working so hard to achieve. So if you notice what they are and you write them down, now you're aware. Awareness is the beginning. Awareness is key. Forgive yourself. Release that self-judgment and that anger and extend grace to yourself moving forward. You made a mistake. Don't forgive yourself and say, I can do it again. Forgive yourself, and then that will give you the ability to move on and not do it again. And then ask yourself the hard questions. Why am I doing this? What purpose is it serving? What feelings am I trying to numb with food? What beliefs do I have that is causing this behavior? And after I sabotage myself, how do I feel? Was it worth it? And did doing that get me closer to my goal? Sometimes it's hard to answer those things. Sometimes it hurts. Sometimes you're like, you know what? Shut up. I don't care. I'm going to eat all this icing out of the container. If this behavior isn't recognizable by you, then choose whatever it is. But like I was the marshmallow fluff girl in the pantry, eating it straight from the container. I didn't even pretend to have a serving size, you know? A lot of us come to this plan broken. And Optavia will allow you to heal, but you have to ask yourself the hard questions. Why am I broken? And how can I fix myself? So these are three slides. Well, not slides, memes, if you may. You are enough. I want you to take a screenshot of these, and I want you to look at them every single day. You are enough. You are so enough. It's unbelievable how enough you are. You're not lacking. You don't deserve to have that self-sabotage. You are allowed to get to your goal. And you need to tell your brain that so that it matches up with your heart and your goals. Today, I will not stand in my own way, period. We are sometimes our own worst enemy. And you are worth it. Do you believe that you're worth it? Like, do you really know that you are worth it? I don't care what anyone said to you. I don't care what damage you have from your parents. I don't care who called you fat in high school. I don't care if your boss puts you down every single day. You are 1,000% worth it. None of us were born to have miserable lives. And we are in control of our own destinies. And the fact that you're on this call, and the fact that you even signed up for a program, or the fact that you're even considering it, if you are watching this later on, means that you know deep down that you're 1,000% worth it. We're going to hear from Avi in a second, but what I do want to continue on and just finish up with is that I want you to write down your goals. I want you to use positive affirmations so that you know how deserving you are of this new lifestyle and losing the weight. I want you to clear the blocks in your belief system so that you can allow change. Take it one day at a time. Set small, actionable steps so it's not one massive, scary goal. Like Avi, who also lost 100 pounds because he's crazy awesome. He didn't say, I need to lose 100 pounds. He said, I'm going to lose 10 pounds every so often, and it's going to add up, and it's going to add up, and it's going to add up. No one can fathom in their brain losing 100 pounds. It's a lot. So you take it one small day at a time. You got through another day in fat burn, another day in fat burn, before you know it, for 5 months, and you lost a ton of weight. And so instead of saying, I'm going to be on plan for 5 months, say, I'm going to stay in fat burn for this day. Instead of saying, I am never going to eat candy ever again, say, I'm just going to throw out the ice cream for today. And slowly but surely, it will become a habit and it will become ingrained in you. Be accountable. Post on Got Health. Tell your coach. Tell your family. Post it on your Facebook. Post a sugar shot. If you hide, I can guarantee you it's going to be a lot easier for you to self-sabotage because no one's going to care. No one's going to know. But that little bit of embarrassment, I cannot gain my weight back. Number one, because I just can't. I was miserable and now I'm happy. But the second is like, people would laugh. They'd be like, you sit here and you preach it and you talk about it and you post it. I would have to shut down my Facebook. I would have to delete all my pictures. Do you understand? I'm so accountable to you guys that I can't have any other reality. And I need that because like I said before, a lot of us are a little bit broken. None of us have amazing, perfect, Instagram-worthy lives. We all have stuff going on. Are you going to eat the ice cream or are you not going to eat the ice cream? You have to contend for it. And when your family and friends in your Facebook world hold you accountable, that's just another way of stopping the self-sabotage. Practice self-discipline. Stop, challenge, choose. Replace the urge to sabotage with a commitment to yourself. Interrupt sabotaging behavior with actionable steps to stay on track. I don't care if you ate 3 tablespoons of ice cream. That does not mean you have to finish off the rest of the container. Throw it out. Stop buying it. You can put it into your cart at Target and then put it back on the shelf before you check out. There are things that you can do to stop yourself. And know that you are brave to take this step in your health and that you deserve it. You are brave. This is not just some joke here. This is not just some bad diet that you're doing. You are brave. You are changing your whole life. Do you deserve to change your whole life? So stop self-sabotaging. All right. I'm going to turn this over to Avi, whose last name I cannot pronounce, even though they're like some of my best friends, and I'm not even going to try. So I'm going to have him come off of mute and share his story.
Hey.
Hello.
Hey, guys. So first thing I want to say is I completely agree with everything Ray said up until this point. All I'm doing, if you're watching my screen, is just sitting here shaking my head. Yes, it's insane. Just yes, yes, yes. Second thing is, this may be a repeater of a lot of what Ryan said because I feel like him and I have a very similar story. So I'll go back to, let's say, probably after high school, I started getting heavier and larger, and I've been that way ever since. I'm 33 years old, and it's just been a constant battle with weight for me. Probably about a few years ago, I think I hit my heaviest point at about 290 some pounds, and I decided like that was it. I got to do something. So I did what everybody in America does, and I joined a gym. And I went to the gym, and I went every day. And a gym opened up where I work, and I joined a second gym, and I was going twice a day. I was going at least 10 times a week to the gym, not really watching what I ate though. So the weight really wasn't coming off. I mean, I felt a little bit better. I wasn't as sluggish, even though going up and down the stairs was tough. I play hockey a lot, so that was never really a lot of fun. I was always like the slow guy, but I could play and just keep up a little. And about a year ago from this month, my wife, Sabotage, found out about program from Ray, and she wanted to do program. And I said, you know, we can't afford it. It's too much money, the typical excuses that everyone gives. And she just said, nope, I'm doing it. We're going to find out the money. So I said, okay, we'll find the money for a month. You can do it for a month. We'll see what happens. So she did it. She did it we came up with the money. She did it for the month, and she lost some weight. I don't remember exactly how, but it worked. She was losing weight. So I said, okay, we'll get another box, do another month. Did it again, losing more weight, just working. And after about 3-4 months, and she was lost about 40 pounds. And I'm like sitting there watching her eating bars and brownies and shakes and cookies. And I'm like sitting there like, wait a minute, I'm killing myself at the gym twice a day, coming home head to toe and covered in sweat. and barely dropping 20 pounds in 2 years. And in 4 months, you've lost twice that just by doing this. That's not fair. I'm in. It's enough already. So we decided the only way we could really afford to do it is if she would coach. So she started coaching, and pretty quickly, she shared her story and everything, and pretty quickly she became a senior coach, which was basically enough to cover one of us doing programs. So we decided that we could both do program now. So January 1st, 2018, New Year's resolution, I bought in. I got my first box and never really had a problem since. Like my first week was a little rough. Getting into fat burn was a detox because I've never done any kind of food diet or anything like that, just working out. So the whole watching what I eat thing was a new beginning for me, which has been fine. You know, that first week, like I said, was really rough, but I got through it, and I've just been used to it. 6 months in, I've lost just yesterday 100 pounds, and I am about 2-3 pounds away from literally a healthy BMI. And, you know, sometime in July, I'll start my transition. And so my wife and I are now coaching, just sharing our story, and it's infectious. And like, I talk to people and they just look at me and they don't believe me. They don't understand. Anyone who didn't know me before I did program doesn't believe my before pictures. And anyone who knows me before is like, you're not you. You're not the same person. You're your brother. You're someone else. It's insane. But no, it worked. 6 months, 100 pounds, incredible. So now I'm still going to the gym a little bit, not 10 times a week, more like 3 to 5. And I'm not sweating nearly as much. The workouts are 10,000 times easier. And hockey, unbelievably awesome. I went from being like the slow guy to now the fast guy. Nobody can catch me. I'm catching down everyone. It's phenomenal. That to me is like the biggest change in my life. It's the hockey. Yeah. So now I guess I'm good. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. I mean, if you notice that he was accountable to his wife, number one. So there was someone there. You know, if you're doing this alone, I suggest that you find somebody to be accountable to, because that's going to be key to your success. Like I said in the beginning, when you keep this a secret, it's always going to be a secret. Now, I did notice, we have 3 more minutes, and I did notice a question. I'm going to read it out loud. Give me 1 second if I can find it. Okay. Someone said that they're not connecting with these reasons for self-sabotage. So what I want to have you realize is that everyone has a different journey, and everyone has a different trigger, and everyone has a different sabotaging narrative in their head. And some of you might not be relating to all the reasons and all the things that I gave you, but you all have it. Like I said in the very beginning, it might not be eating an entire gallon of ice cream, but it might be leaving your water bottle at home. Or I've had people forget, and I know they really forgot, but if you really, really cared, you would not forget your fuelings at home. The same way that you don't forget your phone. Have you ever forgotten your phone at home? I can guarantee you haven't. And if you have, then, I mean, good for you. You know, fix one of the world problems right now, but you're not forgetting your phone at home. So why are you forgetting your feelings at home? Forgetting your feelings at home is a form of self-sabotage. So whatever your self-sabotage is, whatever your reason is, whatever your behavior is, you know, everyone's is different. And like Donna just said, it is super sneaky, and it shows up in ways that you didn't even realize. But if you start to write it down and you start to realize, okay, I just made an off-plan choice. Why did I just make an off-plan choice? And you think about, okay, what just happened in that moment? Then you'll start to realize that reoccurring instance. Okay, that's what it is. That's what's happening. So I suggest that you write this down. I suggest that you remember that you're worth it. I suggest that you never, ever miss a Let's Chat. I mean, obviously all of you are on here, but make sure your friends don't miss a Let's Chat. That's another way of making sure you stay accountable so that you don't self-sabotage. And just know that you can do it, and that if these 2 stories from Ryan and Avi didn't prove that you can, then I don't know what will. So here is to happiness, health, and less self-sabotage. We are going to finish the recording now, and we're going to move on to coach training. You are absolutely more than welcome to stay on. We have no secrets, and we would actually be thrilled for you to join us. So we're going to pause the recording,